Hello everyone, this is Beth Kiggins. I am the other instructor for HSCI 610 and I'll be giving you the overview for this week. The first thing that I want to mention is it's really important that you contact Julie and discuss your capstone project. That's critical because from this point forward, as we look at the various instructional tools, we want you to build projects that are related to your capstone. Rather than just doing busy work for that particular tool, you will build something that will support your capstone project. So reach out to Julie, make sure she's approved your project, and life will be easier from here on out with this course for that particular reason. So we're going to talk this week about the flipped classroom. Many of you are probably already aware of the flipped classroom, and just the very basic philosophy behind it is you give your students resources, videos and that type of thing to look at outside of class. The lecture takes place outside of class. And then when they come into the classroom, you have hands-on activities. You can discuss what they read. So rather than lecturing in the classroom, the lecturing takes place outside of the classroom. So this week, let's take a look at your learning objectives. We're going to use two different tools this week, something called HyperDocs, which can be referred to as Google Docs on steroids. And it's basically you will create a lesson plan using either a Google Doc or a Google Slide. So some students will use Google Sites, but for this project, we're going to recommend either Google Docs or Google Slides. And basically what you do is everything the student needs to access is contained within that lesson in a Google Doc or a Google Slide. So we'll give you some instruction on that. And then you're going to create an assessment over whatever the content is in your HyperDoc using Google Forms. Now, as we move forward in this course, we're going to present different tools each week, and then we're going to present a different assessment tool every week that you will use to basically give to your students to see if they attain the knowledge that you presented with your instructional tools. So that's basically a gist of what's going to happen this week, and we're going to talk right now. There's readings are 7 things you need to know from EDUCAUSE. EDUCAUSE is a higher ed organization. They have put out these 7 things monthly. There's a different topic every month. So this one is a 2-page article. They always have the same topics. What is it? How does it work? Who's doing it? Why is it significant? What are the downsides? Where is it going? And what are the implications for teaching and learning? So again, take a look at that. It's a great article. It's a 2-page article. Shouldn't take you very long to read. The second resource is this website from the Center for Teaching and Learning at the University of Washington. As many of you know, ChatGPT is really in the headlines today, but they're spotlighting that on this particular website. And then that they always talk about inclusive teaching, syllabus design, engaging students, hybrid online. It's just a great resource that you can use to supplement your teaching. So you might want to bookmark that site or at least take a look at it. The last one is from Faculty Focus, and I think we probably have mentioned Faculty Focus, but Faculty Focus is a site. It's a great site that you can sign up, get free resources. They send out emails every month. And this one is particularly about Google tools. But as you look through here, they have podcasts. They've got reports that they put together that you can download. They also have a variety of topics. If I look at teaching with learning, teaching with technology, for example, of course, the first couple 2 are about AI and ChatGPT, but then there's a bunch of different articles here as well that you might want to take a look at. It's a great resource site that you might want to use to supplement your teaching. So now we're going to begin to take a look at the different tools that you will use this week. The first one is we're going to talk about the flipped classroom in general, and there's some videos here. I think it's about 20 minutes worth of videos that we would like for you to watch. There's additional resources down here if you want to learn more about the flipped classroom or if the flipped classroom is new to you. And then the next page we have here is about HyperDocs. So there's lots of resources here for HyperDocs. If you click on this HyperDoc templates, for example, there's this hyperdocs.co website that is really a resource library that you can use for HyperDocs. When I get down here, I can select Find Great HyperDocs, and it will take me to a page where I can access some templates. And the 2 that the students have typically used are this basic HyperDoc lesson and this Explore, Explain, Apply. If I click on the basic HyperDoc, it will bring up a template. So it's got 7 different categories that you can use to present your lesson content. I can select File, make a copy, and that will allow me to make a copy of this HyperDoc, and then I can edit it as I see fit for my particular lesson. The other one is Explore, Explain, Apply. Again, if this is the one you prefer, you can select File, make a copy, and then make a copy of this one. So this one has text on the left and then the tasks on the right. It's just, again, something that you can use to create a lesson for your students. The other option they have here is they've got some samples that you might want to take a look at. And these just are samples for different subjects. They're primarily K-12. If you just want to take a look at what different HyperDocs look like, you can take a look at that. Here's a HyperDoc. This one actually used a Google Slides. I particularly I prefer slides to do a Google Doc, and the reason is you can actually embed a video. When you use HyperDocs as a Google Doc, everything is a link. Versus slideshow, you can actually embed it. So here's one, how HyperDocs can transform your teaching. It does have a K-12 focus, but it is applicable to higher ed. HyperDocs for adult basic skills education. There's just all kinds of resources that are here. And then here are some examples that students have done in the past. Here's one on death and dying. So again, they've got their lesson description at the top. They have included their learning objectives, which we want you to do as well. And then they use the Engage, Explore, Explain, Apply, Reflect, that 7 category one. They have built-in images, and then all of these are links to, that's a link to a YouTube. This is a link to Google Doc. And they just have everything contained in here. And then at the end, they have a link to their quiz that they did over in their HyperDoc. So there are some examples here that you can take a look at. Just feel free to look at those. You can put your own images on the left side and just either, again, create a Google Doc using HyperDocs, or create a HyperDoc using Google Docs, or create a HyperDoc using Google Slides. The next one is Forms. Google Forms is a tool we're going to use this week to create your assessment. It's also a great tool for data collection, but for the purposes of this assignment, we're going to use it as a quiz. So I'm going to go out here to forms.google.com, and there are different sample Google Forms here, but we're going to create one from scratch. I'm going to click on blank, and I'm going to call this Indiana Facts. Click up here in the title, and that'll transfer my title here up to there. I can also, if I click on Customize Theme, I can change this to a different color. I can click Choose Image, and then select an image here that I want to use for my HyperDoc or my Google form. You can import your own image, but they're kind of particular about the image size, the pixel size, so it's just easier for the purposes of this assignment to go through and just use an image that they have. So the first question I'm going to ask is, what is your name? And then I can give it a description because I want to tell them, please enter first name, comma, last name. The data that is collected from this will go into a spreadsheet, and I want to be able to sort it. Oh, I did this wrong. Please enter last name, comma, first name. So that way I can be able to sort it by their last name. Notice it changed from multiple choice to short answer. I'm going to make this a required field. And then I'm going to add another one and say, what is your, can't type today. What is your email address? And what I'm going to show you how you can actually collect the email address, which is what we're going to do, but let me change this to personal so I can get their personal email address. But what's nice about this is when I select more options, I can do response validation, say it's a number or it's a text field, and it is an email. So that way they will make sure that they at least enter an email address versus just some random text. Now what I want to do is I've got their name and their email address. I'm going to add a section break here. And the advantage of section breaks is it puts your content on a separate page. So then here I'm just going to say Indiana Facts Quiz. If you were doing data collection for a survey or something with multiple parts, you could create a section for each different part. I want to show you the settings. Under settings, I'm going to make this a quiz. With the responses, you can do it immediately after each submission, or I can do it later after everybody's taken the quiz. We're not going to worry about lock mode because that is relative to Chromebooks and we're not using those. When it does give the student the responses, you can show them the missed questions, the correct answers, the point values, etc. I've got my points set at 5. That's the default. Responses are managed. I do want to collect email address. I do not want to send them a copy of their responses. I do not want them to edit their responses. I do want to limit it to one response. And then the content, you can show a progress bar if you want to. You can shuffle the question order. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this quiz, but you can see how you have different options that you can set. So once that is set, now I can go back and I can begin to add a question. I want to make this, what is the Indiana state flower? That capitalized. I'm going to say the rose, the tulip, the peony, and the carnation. Down here it's got the answer key, so I can select answer key. Peony is the state flower. If for some reason, if this is math or something else, I could add answer feedback. So I could add incorrect feedback. I could add correct answer feedback, great job, whatever. But on the incorrect answers, if I wanted to do some type of remediation, I could click on the link and point them to a website, or I could click on the video and give them a YouTube video to refer to, just again, to give them some remediation. If this is a math class or a science class or something like that, I might want to do that, just to show you that as an option. I'm going to go ahead and add another question. Where state flag originate? Put Indianapolis, Bloomington, South Bend, Mooresville. Again, select answer key, select the correct answer. Again, I've got the option to do answer feedback, select done. The other thing I want to do on these is make sure that they are required, to make sure that the students answer the questions. And then, so I just got a two question quiz right now, but for the purposes of the assignment you're doing, I think you've got maybe 10 questions. Just take a look at the rubric. Now I can do a couple other things. I can preview it if I want to see what it's going to look like. You notice this is on the first page. Now it's not going to let me go to the second page until I fill out this form. You'll notice these show that it is actually required. And then the other thing you need to do is when you want to send this, you can select the link option. This will give you a short URL that you can embed into your HyperDoc that the students will then take the quiz as soon as they review your content. And then the other thing you need to do is under these 3 little ellipses, select add collaborators and add Julie and myself as collaborators, so that way we can look at your form as a instructor. So that's a real good review, I think, of how to create a Google form. Please reach out if you have any questions. I think that's about it for this week. You will have, again, you've got to submit your HyperDoc and you've got to submit your Google form, or your Google form is going to be attached to your HyperDoc. So again, it tells you here how to do all that, and that instruction also shows you how to begin to create that. So have fun with the assignments this week. Make sure they apply to your capstone project, and please reach out if you have questions. Have a great week.